Where's that baby? There she is.
Everyone pretty much knows my story. They watched it here. Some even witnessed it firsthand. They seen the struggles that I faced, the depression that I went through, the hell, addictions, and demons that I had to face and remove. My story is just one of many stories. There are more out there. Fathers go through this all the time. This is the dark side of fatherhood, where your stories matter. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another special edition of the Dark Side of Fatherhood. I am your host, of course, Nakashawan Yashala, the ISUPK. Tonight's guest we're going to bring on is my brother. He's going to come up here and share his story. But before we get to that, just to give you guys a quick synopsis again, what the profile of this show is. The profile of this show is to illustrate and highlight the pain and anguish that Black men go through in this state of fatherhood. And a lot of times we don't get platforms to talk about these things, although these things exist. They happen to us, they happen in our communities. And now we are shining a light on what it means to be a father, what it means to be a father that actually wants to see their children and can't, or is being prohibited or held back from doing so. You know what I'm saying? So this platform is for that. And if you're a brother and you would like to come on to share your story, because your story matters, that's the tagline of the show. Your story matters. Just email me at nakashawan144@gmail.com, and we'll either set up a sit down interview with you if you are in the Atlanta, Georgia area, or we can do a virtual interview. This is completely free of charge, but your story matters. Okay. And without further ado, I'm going to bring my brother on so we can get this on and popping. All right. All right. Here we go. So this is my brother right here, Malaahkya of the ISUPK. Malaahkya wanted to come on and just basically support and tell his story, because again, a lot of us have one, and it's almost as if it's unfair if it's one-sided. We get the one side of the coin, but we don't get the other side. So my brother Malaahkya, what's going on, brother? What's happening, man?
Not much, man. I'm just out here chilling, waiting for the next load.
Right, I got you covered. Ain't no sweat. So you want to tell the people who don't know you about you? Tell them a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, Officer of 1,000, Malaahkya. Been in the truth about like 8 years out of Philadelphia. You know, um, really just a nice, simple, laid back, easygoing guy. Been driving trucks for a little bit over a year now.
Mhm.
Nice little career. Got a family, got kids. Hold on.
All right, I got you. So speaking of that, obviously, because you've seen the show and you know what the crux of the show is. So how many children do you have?
I have 4 children.
Okay,
Yep,
nice. Oh,
got
nice.
4 children.
How old are they? How old do they range from?
Um, my 2 daughters are 8 and 6, and my 2 sons are um like a little almost 2
Right.
and about like 2 months.
Okay. Are you there for them? Are you able to see them, or is anything kind of restricting you?
Yeah, I can see my sons, but my daughters, that's where, issue is at with the custody and child support and everything. That's really where the issue is coming from. You know what I mean?
Right. All right. So let's take a walk. We're gonna take a quick walk down memory lane. So
hmm
you are a father. How old were you when you first became a dad?
I believe I was 20. I was 20. It was my first year in the truth.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay. And
hmm
around that time, you're 20 years old. What are the thoughts that going through your mind at the time of the reveal that you're going to be a father? Like, you get the test or however the information was delivered to you. What's the feeling, if you could recall that time? What was the genuine feeling back then?
Yeah, I mean, shit, it was almost a decade ago, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But the feelings that come to mind when I think about it, it was nervous. Like I felt
yeah,
under pressure.
right.
You know what I mean? Because 20 years old, living with my parents, and I just got fired from UPS. That was the first job I got fired from. I think that was like my third job,
Mhm.
but that was the first job I got fired from. And of course, like I said, that was my first year in the truth. So I'm searching for God, getting fired. Then I get the news that, okay, I'm about to be a father.
Right,
So it was like, nervous, you know what I mean? Pressure on me. Feel me?
right. And when your child is born and your child is here, did the nervousness then did it leave? Because I know for some of us, like for me, my for example, my daughter when she was born, I was bigger then. I was always afraid to hold her, but that initial
Yeah.
feeling of being a dad, I was like, oh man, although I think black men, most of us we're ready for it
Yeah.
because a lot of us have been deprived of that feeling.
Hmm.
So when she arrived, it was kind of like, okay, I'm in the game now. Like it's time to go to work. Did you have that same feeling as well?
Yeah, it was like, kind of just step up to the plate. And like when I felt that pressure, I really, showed up.
Right,
You know what I mean? So that it was like an extra fire. Like I said, we both living with our parents. Um, baby come, and even before the baby, I'm telling them, I'm like, okay, so we're going to get an apartment.
right,
You know what I mean? Because she was having issue with her family and a place to stay, and I'm like, I can't allow my daughter, to be going from place to place because her mom is having issues with her family, and I don't have a place to give them. So, that really helped me lock in more. Of course, it was a journey to get there, even after my daughter was born.
right,
It was a journey to get there, but I mean, I really had an opportunity to um show up, and that's exactly what I did, man.
right.
As far as getting a place for us, you know.
Yeah. So walk us down, walk the audience down. We already know about, your children and paint the story, paint the picture for the people at home of how it started and then what kind of turned left. What was the turning point to where now, court is getting involved and things like that without too many details, you know what I'm saying? Because I know court cases could be something, but
Yeah.
when did it turn? Like what were the signs? What was going on at that time to turn it that way?
I mean, it's it was always kind of shaky.
Right.
It was a shaky relationship, kind of on and off here and there. Um, that happened. It kind of brought us together for longer,
Mhm.
a little bit more tighter, but it was always still shaky. So, and of course, before we get into it, it's just a matter of accountability. You understand? I understand that I put myself in that position dealing with a certain type of woman.
Right.
It was something inside of me that allowed me to go and find this type of woman and have sex with her and get her pregnant. Um, you understand? So it was already shaky. I think, you know, it wasn't too long after our child was born, because we got the place arguing, having issues, and she ended up leaving, going to a shelter. So I think our child was like less than 1 years old before child support and custody came into play. You know, it was really just like already going bad.
Right.
And the child came, he was trying to salvage what we had, but it was already going bad. I mean, it was just kind of prolonged and inevitable.
Right. And during this time period, once custody gets involved, once the courts get involved, it makes things a little bit more difficult. During this time period, did you lose that joy of being a father? The initial feeling that you feel in the beginning, did those things interfere with that joy to where now you're like, damn, this is now becoming painful to be a dad.
Yeah, I mean, even before the baby arrived, you know, like when parents, mothers or father, when they're expecting a child, they go into like trying to baby proof the whole house,
Yeah.
like putting outlet plugs and all the outlets and cushions on the side of the tables. It got to a point where I was trying to baby proof her.
Mm.
You know, like it was like the things that I've seen in her, even the things I've seen in myself, I'm like, I don't want my child to suffer or to lack anything because, I'm lacking something. Of course, the main issue was getting a house. So I
Right.
seen it inside of me. I'm like, I gotta be better at saving money and managing money and budgeting.
Right.
I seen things inside of me and I seen things inside of her that I'm like, I don't want my child to, lack anything. So me telling her these things, we having a conversation about it, she taking it as, an issue or like I'm being mean or I'm being rude.
Hmm.
You understand? And that's causing a problem. And we having arguments about that. So I was finding things in me that I need to baby proof
There you go.
to shield my child from so they wouldn't feel anything or lack anything because of what I'm lacking. And I was pointing out the same things in her, you know, um, just conversations. But of course, it could be misinterpreted. She's pregnant.
Yep.
Emotions are high.
Yep.
You know, um, I'm anxious. It's anxiety, so it easily went left. It was my brain doing a clumsy job of protect the baby at all costs,
Hmm.
and it was started to point out things in us. So that really snatch that initial joy away and just replace it with, okay, I gotta fix this. Is just all solutions and there's problems that need to be fixed before we can get here.
All right.
So that's what he took it away.
So let me run this past you, right? Because as black men, we have a very specific job. We're like Superman. We're like, we're the hero. We're dad. We're the protector. During this time period, right? During this particular time period, on a scale of 1 to 10 of pain, right? 10 being the greatest pain. On that scale, what kind of pain did you feel? How bad was the pain that you couldn't do your job as the protector?
Oh man, it was, I would say like a 7 or 8. It was up there because as far as trying to get us a place,
Hmm.
you know, I'm coming from being fired.
Right.
On the job at Chipotle, I was the cook. Then I worked up and became the manager.
Right.
So I was striving towards getting it, but it was still met with doubt from her.
Mm.
So it's in my mind is like, am I able to do it? Am I even really able to reach this level?
Hmm.
But also seeing, okay, I'm making progress. So it wasn't like just straight pain, but it was definitely there. And on top of it, I'm like, can I even change her or help her understand the things that she need to change for our child? So, it was definitely a stressful time.
Right.
It was definitely a stressful time. But
Right.
of course, I mean, time got worse. So
So,
I mean, it was, I would say like an 8.
so talk to me about that. The times that got worse. Most of us we fall into vices. And of course, you and I, we understand a language, and that language. If you and I said the word demon, we know what that means. But I'll say vices for people who don't understand the language. The demon is just a vice, something that we fall to and succumb in this period. It could be depression, it could be alcohol addiction, it could be, whatever it is, but it's something that is inevitably going to show up.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. Did you have any vices at that time? And how bad did it get? And how did you overcome those things?
I mean, it was rough because, like I said, this was my first year in the truth.
Oh,
So the things I've done before to help me cope, like smoking weed, it was like cold turkey. You know, I believe once we got the ultrasound and we found out that it was a girl, I went and rolled up. You know
hmm.
what I mean? I was just stressing even more because I'm like, oh man, I
Hmm.
might have a little girl. So I was stressing even more. So I turned to weed, and even that was
like not even helping because I'm coming in the truth.
Right.
And I'm realizing I can't even do it, but then I do it. So it's like the thing that usually helped me just make me feel worse.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Anything else that takes the edge off, it wasn't available to me.
Right.
You know, knowing the truth. So it was, it was a lot of pressure from all different angles. A lot of pressure, and it wasn't nothing that I was used to. You know.
Right. Right. And just to piggyback off of that, and to the people listening, again, brothers do go through things. Like, and I said this the last show when I had on Tylon Washington. I said this in the last show, right? It is an idea that, when we're not around our children, that we're just having a good time. You out, we partying and all that. That is not the case at all.
Oh.
We, as fathers, being the protector and the provider, are always trying to fix the problem, right? That's the thing that goes on in our mind. And it absolutely eats us alive when we can't, because that's our job, that's our role in life. There's a idea also that men cry in the dark, which is true. Do you have any moments during this time period or from that time period at all, being a father, that you cried in the dark, and what was that moment?
Oh, I mean, like how I mentioned earlier, the times got worse, and it got worse because I actually was able to form a bond with her,
Mm.
and then it was just severed,
Mhm.
you know. So it goes from me being in her life and taking her to the park and being at home, and we, bubble baths and bedtime routines, it like all of that while she's still young, and we're able to really form that bond. It just comes to an abrupt stop, and then you go into court showing text messages. Like, this was after we got a court order, so it's like, all right, I'll see her every weekend or every other weekend. They start off with that. Then
Right.
I worked up to, I get her this week, and then she get her that week, and we alternate weeks. And then even times where, okay, I'm not seeing them on my weeks, and I'm going to court showing screenshots like,
Right.
listen, she's saying she's not giving her to me, and she's not doing this, and the court is just like saying, oh well, y'all just figure it out.
Right.
You understand? And it really gets to the point where it's like you want to fix things and be there, but you feel powerless. And like how you said, we're meant to just fix things and think about things, critical thinking and use logic. And it's like you can't do anything.
Right.
And that is really where the pain started. Not being able to spend time with my daughter that I already have a bond with.
Right.
That's really where the pain started, man.
And that's a heavy thing too, because we understand that, and I think this is not something taboo. Daughters need their fathers. We are of the age bracket to understand uh, that daughters do need a father. They need that guidance. Her first love is going to be for her dad, and dad, protects her and gives her the guidance that she needs, not only to protect herself, but to also pick the guy. You know what I'm saying? So with that, seeing as though that is an element that's not on the table anymore, what is something that you think you could possibly do now to kind of insert yourself into her life, like, or into their lives? You say you had two daughters, right?
Right.
Okay. Is there any way that you could try to weave your way in there, or the damn gate is closed?
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, it just appears like the gate is closed.
Mhm.
I reached out to her because, I mean, a good thing happened recently. My child support was terminated.
Okay.
I didn't get any reason why. It just said good cause. But before then, I haven't spoken to her. I haven't seen our children. So I try to reach out, but I couldn't. I haven't got an answer. So is as of right now, the ball is in our court. That's so it's a rough situation, man.
Right. Which is usually, which it typically, it is, it's, the court is not, what we always say is that, it's not in our favor, obviously, right? It is pushed upon us to do this thing, but it never ends up working out our way. I want to segue for a second too, just to shine some light on something, right? Because there's a there's a there's a light side to this too, right?
Hmm.
So if you could give one word to describe who you were at that time, what would that word be? One word to describe who you were at that time, to describe that person.
I would say naive.
Mm,
I was just holding on to the hope of a family.
right,
Like I was trying to make things work and reaching out and going back time after time. So like that's really how it began to feel.
right,
After you just keep trying and for some reason she'll keep coming back and saying that she want to work on it, and we get together. Then I mentioned, okay, if we're together, why am I still on child support?
right.
Then the issues come and fall out, and I'm, just trying to stay optimistic about it. And I mean, ultimately, it just felt like I was just being naive.
Mm, right. And now that you've struggled, you went through your vices and your demons, and you overcome that. Who are we talking to now? Obviously, we're not talking to the naive version of you, but
Yeah.
who's the brother that we're talking to now?
I mean, just more understanding and having faith in the Most High.
Mm,
Because the thing that really replaced all of the vices, all of the things that would usually give me relief that I couldn't do no more. The thing that replaced that was the counsel.
right,
The endless counsel I got from General Haas, General Mahaiman, Captain Akkad, just endless counsel.
right.
Uh, I forget the other captain name. Slipped my mind,
Mm,
but you know, they've given me so much counsel, and when I follow the counsel to a T, everything happens how they say it's going to happen. And it really takes a burden off of you.
right,
You understand, and just it gives you confidence. Even in times where I was getting them and the custody arrangement was going well,
right.
I'm getting counsel about how to deal with this or how should I go about that, and it really just gave me confidence in doing my job. It was like I had a handbook on being a father,
Hmm.
and all of that experience. I still have the experience. You understand me? So it's just a more well-rounded father right now. You know?
Right, right. And you're doing an amazing job, and it to come out of things like that, to go through it, we are privileged to have the understanding and the counsel that we have, but to overcome that, to go through the mud and go through the struggle and the struggle that we go through as black men, it, outside of the children, right? Even before we get to that part, it's unfathomable. You can't even think about it, and then when it's revealed that you're going to be a father, now you have that tribe that you're supposed to, you go to war for, you provide for, and then when that's taken away from you, it will send you to another path, another side where you're kind of spiraling out of control. But to overcome that in and of itself needs to be studied and congratulated, because it is a difficult thing to have the child that you help create not there. It's difficult to raise a child during FaceTime, or you can't provide for the thing that you help bring into this world. And that's it's unfortunate, but through this type of platform, we could highlight the pain and then highlight the solutions too to the problem and how brothers got through to it. But I want to segue to another question in the same context. So
Uh,
you're a father, you have experiences now, you have gotten counsel. What would be something that you would say to a younger brother right now that's about to become a father? What are some things you would say to him? What advice would you give him?
A younger brother that's about to become a father, so I'm assuming he has a wife and she's already pregnant.
Right.
I mean, it's, a few things. Like, of course, I would make sure that he know to talk to his wife about his mental health during the pregnancy, even after the pregnancy, because it's highlighted when she's pregnant. Her mental health is highlighted. You go to the appointments, they asking her all the questions, you kind of just off in the corner,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
they just focusing all on her. And that is, of course, a good thing, but you still got to remember that you have your own thoughts. This is new territory. You probably unsure yourself. You probably anxious. You probably nervous. You
Right.
probably having your doubts. So it's good for her to understand that you're having your thoughts as well, and your emotions. You're trying to make sure you have them under control. So you becoming a new father, you got to make sure you have that understanding between your wife, and that she knows that it's okay to check up on you too.
That's right.
you know so that's like a main one that I would want to share with a young brother. Also, for after childbirth,
Mhm.
um just teach your child values early. you know, Teach them early, because the TV shows and the movies and their friends at school is not going to wait to teach them about all the things that we usually wait until they're 10 years old, 13 years old.
Right.
They've already learned about it and
Right.
been exposed to it. So as soon as you can have a conversation with this child, and it's not just, kid talk, you can really understand them, they understand you. Really just try to teach them as much as you can, and create that bond and create that safe space where they can come and talk to you and ask you questions. So those are two main things I would try to get across to a young brother that's about to be a father.
And that's amazing. You said something that I definitely, it made me chuckle, but then again it saddened me a little bit when you mentioned like how, when your rib goes to the doctor, your girl goes to the doctor, and they just asking her all the questions.
Yeah,
You just kind of sitting there like, I'm the father, right? I just didn't. I'm not supporting her. I'm not her friend. Like I'm a part. I put that baby in there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
because that happened to me too. So when you said it, a piece of me, I was chuckling on the inside, but then I was
yeah.
like, yeah, because ain't that crazy? You actually in the room
Right.
and they walk right past. Can you give us a story about that? So that way viewers don't think that we're crazy.
Oh man, it's like, I mean, the first time I know with my wife now, the first time we was going back to the office, well, one of the first times is like, okay, do you want him to come back with you? And they kind of have you step outside for a little bit while they ask her about if she's being abused and all this other stuff.
Mhm.
It's like, all right, you go outside for a little bit and let me and her have a talk, and then you can come back in. And it's like, you know, and just other instances where it's like, if I don't ask a question, they won't ask me anything or say anything to me.
Right.
It's
Right.
like they're in here for her. It's just tunnel vision. They might look over at me, but still talking to her, is just like, I'm there. I'm just there for her emotional support, you know. So
Right. Right.
and it happens so often. If I don't ask questions, I'm quiet the whole time, you know.
Yeah. And I found that what is more interesting too, and that is also a thing that fathers go through, right? Because doctors, they're going to pump a lot of information onto your lady.
Yeah,
Fathers sit there because we have the protective nature in our mind. We go, okay, but what about this? We're thinking about the cons, not the pros.
yeah,
We're thinking about the cons. How does this affect my woman? How does this affect the child? How does this? But the doctors will sell you on the good parts about it. Like most of us, especially post pregnancy, they'll sell you right on birth control. As soon as the baby comes out, they're in your face. Hey, you don't you want to stop doing this? You know what I'm saying? And I was talking to the brother last week. Most of us get jammed up with postpartum depression. Like that,
yeah,
that is tearing up black households. I keep saying it. I'm going to keep saying it. but the doctor never informs her of that.
Right.
Doctor goes, "Hey, you want some birth control? You want an IUD? You want?" And then she takes it, obviously because the doctor's right. You're wrong. You can't be right. The doctor done buried you. You don't even exist in the room. So
Uh, it's crazy.
yeah, that's a lot of things. That's some other unfortunate gems I want to lay on everybody. That yes, we're in the room. Incorporate us into that. You know what I'm saying? The doctor he doesn't like family.
He don't.
He doesn't. Go ahead.
It was to a point, when my Rhea was pregnant with our first son, I had all the questions in the world. It's
Right.
like,
Right.
all right, she's in the corner now. You
Yeah.
know, I'm talking to you right now.
Yeah.
I got 10 questions right
Yes.
here and I need answers right now. You
Right.
understand? So it's
Yeah.
crazy, man.
That's the protective nature. Because I had the same question. I'm like, yo, what's up? Why y'all take? As soon as my daughter was born, they picked her up and carried her over to another part of the room. I was like, hey, yo, because I was on something else. I thought that needles give you autism. It was a whole like so. This is before the truth. So my
Yeah,
whole mentality was like, yo, what are y'all up to? Like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
What are
yeah.
y'all up to? And that's the protective nature of fathers for sure. So the last thing I want to ask you, and I appreciate you for coming on and sharing your story to make sure that, everybody is aware that, black men do care for our children. We care for our children. We go through things, and the things that you won't do for your child, the things that we do for our children, is unparalleled. And hopefully tonight, while recording, we could have probably reached a brother or a sister too, to possibly change their mentality to mend our households. So I want to give you the floor, and I would like for you to address your daughters that you are currently not seeing. If this show, uh, they just so happen to come across it, sort of like a letter in a bottle, the letter in the bottle theory, where you throw the letter in the bottle out into sea and this kind of washes up on sea. If they found the letter, if they found the show, they stumbled upon this show, they're getting older, what is something that you would want them to know about your experience, what you went through? And I'm gonna give you the floor, sir.
I mean, man, like I would want them to know that I would make my life come to a screeching halt to make sure that they're okay. You understand? And it's not just talk. Like I've had to do it. You understand? Just this year where I had to quit my job and come home because their situation was a bit unstable. So I had to just because I'm on the road, I'm driving. I can't have children unless there's a strict custody arrangement. I had to just quit and come home and take them, and I didn't feel no shame, no guilt about it at all. So there's I will stop my life in a heartbeat to make sure that they're okay and to make sure that they have a place. And I would really want them to know that I love them dearly and I miss them so much. I've shed so many tears when I haven't seen them. I've shed so many tears, and I would want them to know that they have a parent that loves them. Their father really loves them and cares about them. And I fantasize about raising them. I have thoughts and dreams about actually raising them. Like not even metaphorically, like literally dreams about just having my children and teaching them, just talking to them, playing with them. And it hurts a lot that you know we're not together. You understand? And I just pray to God that when you get older and you come find me, you know, that you understand that I love you, and I will move mountains, to make things happen for you. But I just need you here with me. It's like a void that, you know, nothing can really fill. You understand me? I understand I have more children and our bond is beautiful, but the bond that I've created, it was just severed and nothing is filling that void. You know, the only thing that's really keeping me afloat is this truth and the counsel. You understand? And it gets dark, but the only thing, like I said, the only thing is this counsel and just the hope that I'll be reunited with you one day. You understand?
Listen, man, that I hope and I pray that it happens, and they will find you. They definitely will find you. They always do. But now they have something here to examine. You know, your side of the story. You know, you get this story out, they'll stumble upon it, and that's what you would say to them. Like, let's say years later, if they don't, you know, you still don't see them, this may come up. Like, hey, we saw your dad on this. Your dad wants to tell you, he sent you a message on this. Listen to what he just said. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
you know, I pray that they find you and the Most High see fit that they do, because I think it's going to happen. Um, yeah, yeah, it's definitely going to happen. But yeah, like you said, the truth is what it's the thing that's keeping us afloat, and that's the thing that is keeping us strong in this. It's keeping us strong in this. But I want to thank you, brother, for coming on. And can you tell the people where to find you?
I'm on Instagram, Laahk1W, Laahk1W. I'm on TikTok. I mean, you know, I do my trucker videos, may do some videos about the truth. I'm on TikTok. I believe my name is CDL Bull. I'm from Philly, so
Right.
CDL Bull. Understand? But yeah, you can find me. You can find me on those too, man.
Yeah. And if you can't pronounce Malaahkya, just call him Lock.
That's it.
You know what I mean? To rid all the confusion, because you're gonna have some people go, what is that? Just call him Lock. I mean, we good to go on that. But anyway, yeah, I want to thank you, you know, for coming on here, and you're more than welcome to come back and, you know, share the information, whatever story you got, come on here. And you know, just want to let brothers know that your story matters. Your stories matters. Until next time, I'm your host, Nakashawan Yashala. Thank you guys for tuning in to Dark Side of Fatherhood. Take care. Good night.